What's going on, guys? Inside MMA here, and we are back with another video. Today will be my UFC Fight Night Sterling versus Zalal predictions, but I do want to talk about why I wasn't here to make my Canada predictions. So, I actually recorded a video for my predictions for Canada, actually on a Wednesday, last Wednesday, and then 10 minutes after I recorded it, Alan Nascimento versus Mitch Raposo, one of the fights on the card, got canceled, so I had to redo the entire video. Then there was a bunch of odds shifts in those fights, and I just decided the card was not. I just didn't care for it really. We did get some good picks though. In that on that card, Jai Herbert getting it done by decision was definitely a good one. I had Castaneda. I personally thought he won, but it was a very fun fight. Mike Malott obviously got it done in the main event. Marcio Barbosa. I wish I posted that video because I was talking so much about how Barbosa was one of the best prospects outside of the UFC at 145 and how he's going to be a future champion, and then he kills Dennis Bazookia in a minute. That was definitely something. The two Canadian prospects on the prelims got folded. That was kind of funny. Now, I also said I was going to post my matchups, but I just felt this card was so underwhelming. Like, there's no name value for me to post an entire video about that. So instead, I decided that I'm going to post my fights to make for cards that I think may be underwhelming, such as usually fight nights. I will put them in the community tab of my YouTube channel, so for future reference. If it's a fight night like UFC Canada, I will post that stuff in the community tab. I'm going to record this first, and then I'm going to post those things. So you will see my matchups to make. I'm not going to go through the entire prelims. Like, there's no point. Nobody cares that much. I think I'm just going to do the whole main card because I don't think anybody cares who John Yanis is fighting next. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. First fight here. Talita Alencar versus Julia Polastri. Polastri looked very good in her last fight. I think she knocked out, was it Tanera Lisboa? She did, or no, it was Carolina Kowalkiewicz. She looked fantastic in that fight. Alencar 7-1-1. I remember watching her very first fight on the Contender Series. And I did not think she was going to make it far at all, and she has. She seemingly adjusted to being in the UFC. Her grappling is starting to come together. She's coming off of a win against, let's see here, Ariane Carnelosi via rear naked choke. She has wins over Vanessa Demopoulos by decision. Lost to Stephanie Luciano, who also beat her up on the Contender Series pretty bad. And a win against Rayan Dos Santos in a fight I thought she lost, but still. Julia Polastri's been very inconsistent, but she seems like she's finding her footing after the win against Kowalkiewicz. She does have decision losses to Josephine Nuxton and Lupi Godinez, who are very good in their respective rights. Wins against Corey McKenna, lost to Jazz Davisis outside the UFC. Decent losses. I think Polastri is much better on the feet here. I think her takedown defense is solid. Will it be enough to stop Alencar's? I feel like Polastri has been controlled at times, but Alencar does get very tired, and her takedown accuracy is 26%. Polastri's takedown defense is 60%. She was taken down against Carolina Kowalkiewicz, not controlled for very long. Taken down by Lupi 5 times, controlled for 7 minutes. Dominated Josephine Nutston on the floor, which is kind of surprising because Nutston's a pretty good grappler. And then controlled by Jazz Davicius for 8 minutes. So really only controlled by good grapplers, but controlled for a very long amount of time. Alencar's got decent grappling. Do I think it's enough to handle Polastri? I think Polastri's physical talent is just so much better than Alencar's. Alencar, unfortunately, came to the UFC fairly old. I think Julia Polastri wins this fight more than likely at 29-28. She probably gets dominated on the ground for a round and adjusts and wins rounds 1 and 3, I would assume, and or 2 and 3, and yeah. She is also a -250 favorite coming in. Next fight. Now, these odds surprise me. Max Griffin versus Victor Valenzuela. Valenzuela is a guy who fought on the Contender Series. He did lose. He lost to Michael Oliveira, I think, is who I'm thinking of. Very good prospect, undefeated, one of the best fighters at 170 outside of the UFC. Beat Kinoshita in his last fight outside of the UFC. Kinoshita was in the UFC, went 0-2, got a round 2 knockout against him. He has some losses outside the UFC, round 1 KO, round 2 KO, submission all the way back in 2015. Max Griffin. I understand he's 20-12 and he has a lot of losses. Valenzuela is the favorite here by KO. Max Griffin has fought Michael Morales. He's fought like a lot of guys, Chidi and Njokuani, Thiago Alves, and he has not been KO'd, and most of his losses are split decision losses. I mean, he lost to Curtis in a 29-28. He did get subbed by Michael Chiesa, but grappling has always been what he struggled in. He got a split decision against Jeremiah Wells, decision loss to Michael Morales, decision against Tim Means, decision loss to Neil Magny in a fight where he almost knocked him out in the first round, decision win against Carlos Condit, San Canon, Ramiz Brahimaj, decision losses to Alex Oliveira, Alex Morono. He's kind of like the Dan Ige of 170. I don't see Valenzuela winning this fight at all. Like, I just don't see it happening for him. I think he could brutally get knocked out, and I also think he could lose a decision. He doesn't have, like, a grappling background by any regard. He's going to keep this fight on the feet, which is where Griffin shines. And Griffin has only lost to top guys in the last 4 years. Like, they're all top 20 guys. Curtis, Morales, Chiesa, and Neil Magny are his only losses in 6 years. Like, and he's beaten guys like Jeremiah Wells, who are top-level prospects. I think Griffin wins this fight by decision. I have no clue why so many people are doubting him. I guess it's because he's 40. But Valenzuela is just not UFC level. I have Griffin coming in as a plus 125 underdog, which is kind of surprising. Next fight. Francis Marshall versus Lucas Brennan. Lucas Brennan. Bellator guy. Was very hyped up, took 2 losses, bounced back with 2 wins, and now he's fighting Francis Marshall. Francis Marshall didn't start, he just got very unlucky early on in his run in the UFC. Unfortunately, he lost a split decision to William Gomis in a very close fight, a very, very close fight. He got knocked out by Isaac Dolgarian in round 1. He got a split decision over Dennis Bazukia, lost a split decision to Myra Santos, which was very clear that he won. And then submitted Eric Silva in his last bout. He's a great wrestler. He's got some great power. He could strike. He's fighting Lucas Brennan. Lucas Brennan, a submission specialist, almost every win by sub. Does have 2 losses by decision. Coming off of 2 straight wins, both round 1 subs. One over former UFC fighter Joshua Weems. This is a crazy betting line to me. I don't know how he comes in as a minus 600 favorite, Francis Marshall. I don't know if those odds are accurate, because this fight did just get made, not even 2 days ago. But it says Marshall's coming in as a minus 600 favorite. I think this is a very close fight. A lot of people are counting Lucas Brennan out. Marshall is a pretty big favorite on the Tapology odds as well. But honestly, Marshall has been out-grappled. It's kind of the route to beating him. Gomis did it a lot with his clinch work. Dolgarian did it. He dominated him on the floor before he knocked him out. And Dolgarian kind of got fraud-checked, but also a rigged fight, that whole thing. He did dominate Myron Santos on the floor, but Myron Santos wasn't the fighter that he is now. Honestly, I'm going with the plus 450 dog Lucas Brennan here by decision. Francis Marshall fights a lot of guys who are either strikers or very, like, balanced guys. And his only loss where he was finished is to a dominant wrestler, a very top pressure heavy wrestler. I think Brennan takes this fight by decision here. I think he absolutely dominates Marshall on the ground. Marshall is just an MMA fighter. He's out-grappling guys that are also MMA fighters. Brennan has 11 wins on his resume, and he has 9 wins by submission. You know what I mean? 10 wins by submission if I'm not correct. He's finished pretty much every fight that he's fought by submission, so I just don't see Marshall getting past that. Yeah, sorry, 8 wins by submission, my bad. He's got 2 KOs and 1 decision. Anyway, next fight. Rafael Filho versus Cody Durden. Rafael Filho coming in as the minus 675 favorite here. It doesn't surprise me. I don't know why Cody Durden is even still in the UFC. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to make this short. Filho is one of the best prospects at 125 right now. He's coming off a round 1 sub against a wrestler in Clayton Carpenter, who's literally better at wrestling than Cody Durden. Durden's got some good power, but a lot of his grappling, he puts himself wide open for submissions. He's got 5 submission losses. They're usually neck submissions because he leaves his neck wide open every time he shoots a takedown, if you didn't see it against Tuman Dembrel in his last fight. 4 straight losses. You've been finished in 2 of them by Nascimento and Jose Ochoa. Submission losses. The other one was to Van, where he got absolutely dominated. He's just not fit to be in the UFC anymore. I have Rafael Filho by round 1 sub. Probably a rear naked choke. Next fight, Michelle Montague versus Mayra Bueno Silva. Another person who I do not understand is in the UFC, and I'm not even gonna entertain this. Mayra Bueno Silva is a BJJ fighter at heart. She does not have any wrestling ability whatsoever. She will sit in your guard for as long as she needs to. She showed it against Raquel Pennington. She showed it in her last 3 fights pretty much, where she sat in guard every single time. And she's just not good anywhere. Michelle Montague does have some striking flaws. I don't think she's the prospect that everybody thinks she is. She can get easily outstruck, but she has a wrestling ability that is one of the best in the division. Bueno Silva's on a 4-fight losing streak. She's been out-wrestled in pretty much all of those fights besides her last one where she got viciously outstriked. Montague should win this fight by decision here. I honestly wouldn't be surprised she chokes her out, honestly. Should be a dominant win for Montague. Next fight. Cedric Dumas versus Jackson McVeigh, the battle of the middleweight legends. I'm actually excited for this fight. I think it's going to be bananas for as long as it lasts. McVeigh is an absolute brawler. He is 0-2 in the UFC. Had a solid performance against Zachary Reese, but his wrestling just wasn't enough in that fight, and he got subbed. Same thing with Bruno Ferreira. Got absolutely dragged out on the ground and then subbed. Dumas, he's kind of an all-around guy. He got destroyed last fight by Dante Johnson, gassed him round 1, got subbed. The low blow against Zachary Reese. He got absolutely outclassed by Ola Jacek. This will be a close fight, honestly. I think McVeigh's brawling ability could have success, but he has absolutely no grappling whatsoever. This is a close fight. You got McVeigh coming in as a minus 200 favorite, which is insane to me. I honestly think Dumas wins this fight, and I know a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for that, but McVeigh has no wrestling ability whatsoever. I've never even seen him attempt to stuff a takedown. Dumas is not a great striker at all, but one thing he has shined in his UFC run, and you see it especially against guys like Cody Brundage and Josh Fremd, or sorry, not Josh Fremd, Cody Brundage and Dennis Tululin is the fight. He got absolutely dominated by Josh Friend in his debut on the ground, and then bounced back by dominating 2 straight guys in a row on the ground to show his improvements. He has a great ground game, and he will shoot. He's not just going to make it a brawl like he used to outside of the UFC. I think Dumas wins this fight by round 2 sub. I would probably sense like a triangle or a Kimura or something like that. Something long, because Dumas just fights long. I'm going with the underdog here. Next fight. Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric McConical. Rodolfo Vieira is coming off of getting head kicked into space by Bo Nickel. Before that, I'm not sure who he beat, actually. I know he lost to Andre Petroski. He beat Tresean Gore, which is actually aging pretty well. He's a grappler, but in his last couple of fights, he really has not grappled. Against Petroski, he didn't grapple. Against Tresean Gore, he didn't really grapple much. And he got defended on a lot of takedowns, but he didn't try to really grapple. And all those guys do have wrestling credentials, so I get it, I guess. McConico's 10-4. All of his losses come by knockout, which is kind of crazy. He's coming off a loss to Susarkaev in round 3. He actually looked good in that fight, to be honest. Split decision loss to Cody Brundage. Got knocked out by split decision winning against Cody Brundage. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. I didn't, personally. Yeah, he's coming in as the minus 280 favorite now, so those odds are wrong. And Vieira's just better. I think he goes back to his grappling in this fight. He doesn't have to worry about any wrestling back. McConaughey's just a balanced striker, honestly. I think Vieira wins this fight pretty easily. I have Vieira decision here. He could just easily wrestle McConaughey if he wants to. Next fight, starting off the main card, Marcus Buchecha versus Ryan Spann. Actually, I'm going to go Vieira sub here. McConaughey, I think Vieira will want to go back to his submission roots in this fight. And I think he gets a round 2 sub, honestly. Like, I don't think he gets it early, but, like, you haven't fought with that style 3 fights in a row. You have to go back to it. McConaughey's the perfect guy to do it against. He's not going to stuff takedowns. I have Vieira by sub. Next fight, Marcus Buchecha versus Ryan Spann. Buchecha is a BJJ guy. Came in his debut, lost to Martin Buday. Didn't look that great in that one. Drew with Kennedy and Njoku. He looked underwhelming. He's shown a lack of gas tank in those 2 fights. Spann is a vet. He's actually doing pretty good at heavyweight right now. 1-1 at heavyweight, but looked very good against Lucas Brzeski last time out. His only losses to Waldo Cortez Acosta, which aged pretty well. Spann's going to come in with reckless abandon like he always does. I don't see him submitting him here. Buchecha just doesn't have any aggressiveness in him whatsoever. He actually comes in the -155 favorite here, which is crazy. But I think Ryan Spann just runs right through him, round 1 KO. The difference in skill gap between light heavyweight and heavyweight, for as bad as a light heavyweight that Ryan Spann was, he was still top 15. I think he absolutely runs through Buchecha here. The skill gap is wide. Next fight, we get a top 15 bantamweight. Montel Jackson is back. Very disappointing performance last time out against Davison Figueiredo. Got out grappled for a long amount of time, while Raoni Barcelos at 38 is entering his prime right now. 4-fight winning streak. Cody Garbrandt, Peyton Talbot, Christian Quinones, Ricky Simone. He's looked fantastic in all of those fights. And he just looked like a different fighter. Jackson is good. He's got good striking. He has the ability to knock Barcelos out. Barcelos has been knocked out once by Umar. His last loss before Figgy was Brett Johns. He was on a 6-fight winning streak. Daniel Marcos, Damon Blackshear, Ronnie Yaya, Julio Arce, JP Bass, Jesse Strader. I would really only consider Arce, Blackshear, and Marcos good wins there. It's a close fight. I think it could go on to either side. Both guys are great fighters. Jackson's coming as a -180 favorite coming into this fight. I do think Barcelos has the abilities more than Jackson. He's definitely more two-dimensional. And I don't see him getting chinned here. He's on a hot streak. He's not going to leave himself wide open. He's shown a great patience, even on this win streak that he's on, especially against Garbrandt. He fought a great grappler like Ricky Simone last time out. Looked very good. I'm going with the underdog again. I'm going with the +150 dog Barcelos by decision. I just think this is the start of Jackson's downfall. You know, he did lose to Figueiredo, but it was on the ground, and we saw that Figueiredo really isn't that great on the ground last fight. He used to be, but this is a different Figueiredo. He's in his 40s now. He's just not that guy anymore, and we knew that. That's why Jackson was such a big favorite against him. I'm going with Barcelos' decision here. I think he's just going to keep rising, honestly, and should get a top 15 spot if he beats the number 14 guy. I got Barcelos' decision here. Next fight. I'm so excited for this. Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinetti. Now, wow, Adrian Luna Martinetti was the -145 favorite here, but Davy Grant has actually risen to a -135 favorite. Davy Grant's coming off a loss to Charles Jourdain, round 1 guillotine. Not a bad loss, you know, it happens. Looked very good before that. Wins against Damon Blackshear, Ramon Tavares, lost to Daniel Marcos in a fight I personally thought he won. Beat Rafael Santiago and Luis Moca in round 3 before that, so he really should have been on a 5-fight winning streak. The Marcos loss was a robbery for sure. Luna Martinetti, 17-1, coming off the fight against Mark Vologdin. Vologdin looked great in his debut. And he really out-grappled Vologdin, and Vologdin showed a lot of grappling defense, better than I thought he would against Castaneda. Now, the damage was different, but he out-grappled him for a whole round. That's how he won the fight. Before that, bunch of round 1 finishes, a round 3 sub, round 1 sub, decision, round 1 sub, round 1 KO, round 2 sub. No real, like, high-level fighters in that run. But Luna Martinetti showed that he's good. He showed he's talented, and this should be a close fight. It should be a fun fight. He does have to watch out for Grant striking, but Grant, he isn't really a power puncher. He's honestly more of a submission guy. 7 wins by submission, which is kind of surprising for his style. 4 KOs. He's got a great striking style. It's weird. A lot of guys get caught off guard, especially Damon Blackshear, but when guys have been able to get a hold of Davey Grant, they usually put him down and dominate him. He has been submitted 5 times, but only 1 time he's been submitted in the last 7 years. He's worked on the submission defense wonderfully. But I don't see his grappling defense getting better here. I have Adrian Luna Martinetti in a decision. It should be competitive. It should be fun. But Luna Martinetti is a very, very good fighter with a very bright future. And I think he gets it done. Next fight, Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez back on rise number 14 at this point. Like, I don't even know how many times he can keep doing this. He's minus 170 here, but he's dropped to a minus 130 favorite. Still the favorite. Rafa Garcia on a 2-fight winning streak. Probably his most perfect performance he's coming off of, and his most impressive performance, knocking out Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon was injured, but it was a banger for as long as that one lasted. Before that, he got a win against Vince Pichel. The dominant loss to Grant Dawson. Before that, beat Clay Guida Mahashate. Lost to Drakkar Klose, Chris Grussmacher. That's actually surprising. I don't know how he lost to Chris Grussmacher. And Nasrat Haqparast. Garcia's good, but Alexander Hernandez is on another level here. It's just shown. 4 straight wins. He's looking better every single time he goes out there and fights. He's got 2 straight wins by KO. Chase Hooper, Diego Ferreira. Those wins aren't amazing, but he looked amazing in those fights. And I just don't think Rafa Garcia is much better than like a Diego Ferreira. I see Hernandez winning this fight by KO either in the first or second round. I'm going to go second round. It should be a banger for as long as it lasts. But I do think Alexander Hernandez gets it done as a slight favorite here. Co-main event, Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards. This is a WMMA fight that I'm actually excited for because Jocelyn Edwards looked like she could beat a man in her last fight. She dropped Nora Cornell on her face, on her head and shoulder with a power slam, and then choked her unconscious. It was crazy. She's on a 4-fight winning streak, all finishes. Priscilla Cachoeira, round 1 KO, nasty knockout. Round 1 KO against Chelsea Chandler. Round 3 sub against Damiris Vidal. She does have losses to Aline Perez, Nora Cornell, which she avenged. But she just got out-grappled in a lot of those fights. Before her winning streak started, that was the way to beat her. She had been taken down 19 times. 19 times so she had been taken down 19 times before this win streak in 8 fights. That's crazy. And now since she started her win streak, she hasn't been taken down at all, including the fight with Nora Cornell that she avenged, where she looked very good on the ground, or at least with clinch defense, because Cornell had a lot of success controlling her in the grappling. Even though Edwards got a lot of those takedowns in the first fight, she was kind of just doing it to cling on to her. But yeah, she's looked very impressive. Norma Dumont, she's just looked like the best female in the world, honestly. If you're looking at it from how she's been fighting, she's looked fantastic. She's on a 6-fight winning streak. Danielle Wolf, Carol Hossa, Chelsea Chandler, where she made her run away. I remember that. Jermaine Durandamy dominated her. Durandamy had been out for a while. Irene Aldana absolutely just destroyed her. And Ketlin Vieira, honestly, close fight, but I think she got it done. It was very close. It was close. She did get taken down a couple times. Control for 5 minutes, so she's had her struggles on the ground as well. She did get taken down a couple times. Her only loss is to Macy Chasson, at least since her debut, and she got absolutely dominated on the ground in that fight. So they both kind of have ground issues. I think this will come down to a striking fight. Both of them will look razor sharp on the feet, but honestly, Edwards' wins are more impressive. She's looked more invincible lately. I'm going with the slight underdog, Jocelyn Edwards, by decision here. She comes in, honestly, she's gone from a plus 140 underdog to a plus 195 underdog. That's crazy. But I think she gets it done. I honestly do. I think she's just better than Norma Dumont everywhere. Dumont can try to grapple her, but she isn't very effective on the floor. Like I said, I just went through Edwards' stats on the ground in those fights. Like, she's just looked better, and like, I see her getting the win here. Norma Dumont isn't like some insane ground wizard or anything. Like, she doesn't do anything insane. She's honestly more of a striker. That's why people love her so much. Edwards' takedown defense has been unstoppable lately. Like, I just see her winning the fight. By decision here. And now it's the main event. Aljamain Sterling versus Youssef Zalal. Zalal is a minus 145 favorite here. He has swelled to a minus 130 favorite. I've thought about this fight a lot. I've been very back and forth on this fight at times. When it came out, I was like, oh, Aljo dominates. But I've gone through Youssef's resume a little bit more since. The streak that he's on, how impressive the fights have looked. It's a tough one. Aljo does have the losses. Well, he has the loss at featherweight to Movsar Evloev. Beat Calvin Kattar and Brian Ortega there. Dominated them both for the most part. Zalal, undefeated since his return. Billy Q dominated him, subbed him. Jarno Earens dominated him, subbed him. Jack Shore dominated him, subbed him. Calvin Kattar dominated, but did get gas in the third and almost got finished. And Josh Emmett subbed him in a minute. It's a close fight. I think it's gonna be very technical. It's gonna be very fun. It's gonna be very high level. But I have to go off of what I think. I think when it comes down to this fight, it's gonna come down to the little things. Wrestling's obviously gonna be a major part from both sides. Submission defense for Aljo has to be at an all-time high. But I think it comes down to who I think is the better, more efficient, more stylistically better fighter. And in my opinion, it is Youssef Zalal. I'm going Youssef Zalal by decision. I don't think he gets a sub. I think he wins a 3-2 unanimous decision. His striking is much sharper. The only real competitive thing they have here is the wrestling. His footwork is better. His timing is better. His precision is better. I don't see Aljo having a lot of success with taking Youssef Zalal down. He might get it a couple times, but I think Zalal will get right back up and challenge him in those positions. I think he's just more hungry at this point in his career. I think Zalal gets it done. Just beats him up, kicks his calves a lot, does a lot of work on the outside, picks his moments, picks his timing. If he gets taken down, he'll attempt a lot of submissions. I think he's very hungry and he's very excited for this matchup, and I think he gets it done by decision in the main event. Those are my picks. A lot of underdogs on this card. The first three fights are all Tapology underdogs. All three of them are also underdogs in the fight, which is, again, insane to me. Dumas, another underdog. Ryan Spann is, for some reason, an underdog. I don't know if those odds changed. I'm not sure. No, he's an even bigger underdog. I don't know how he's an underdog, to be honest. Barcelos is an underdog coming into this one as well. Luna Martinetti's an underdog. We got a lot of underdogs. Jocelyn Edwards is an underdog. But confident in my picks, and I think we're going to get a lot of big wins. Those are my picks. Julio Polastri, Max Griffin, Lucas Brennan, Javier Filho, Michelle Montague, Cedricus Dumas, Hidalgo Vieira, Ryan Spann, Ione Barcelos, Adrian Luna Martinetti, Alexander Hernandez, Jocelyn Edwards, and Youssef Zalal. A lot of red corner wins. Those are my picks, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to post my matchups for UFC Canada in my community tab. Don't forget. I'm going to put timestamps in the bio, or in the captions of this, in the comments, Jesus, of this video. And I hope you guys enjoy. I've been Inside MMA. See ya.